Hello everyone, Ghost Ball 11 here. Welcome back to Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, where I'm crossing my fingers and hoping this is the last bit I gotta do for Rise from the Ashes. I woke up 10 minutes ago, give or take. So I'm gonna be sounding a little groggy here at the start while I work to catch my adrenaline. Or whatever the fuck it's called. So yeah, let's get this stuff started. February 24th, 3:12 p.m. Wright and Co. Law Offices. I'm so sorry, Mr. Wright. Sorry for what my sister said. Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. Are you sure you even got the right guy? I didn't know. I never knew that the SL9 incident was just another name for the Joe Dark killings. Sounds like everyone's heard about these killings but me. Lana wanted Dark convicted so badly. That's why she used me. That's why she used what happened to me. What do you mean, what happened to you? It's all there in the file. Joe Dark's last victim was Prosecutor Neil Marshall. When he murdered Officer Marshall's brother, he left behind an incriminating piece of evidence. But what did you have to do with those killings, Emma? On the night Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered, Joe Dark tried to kill me. What? He tried to kill you? Officer Marshall's brother, Neil, was only trying to save me. So that means you... Yes. I was a witness in the Joe Dark trial. I didn't see that one coming. SL9 is... please. Educate me, please. It happened 2 years ago. It was right about this time of the year, too. There was a terrible thunderstorm that day, unusual for the season. I was alone in my sister's office. We were planning to eat dinner together once she finished her work. Then suddenly, this terrifying man came bursting into the office. Joe Dark? Seemed like he was running from someone, pulled out a knife and screamed at me. I didn't know what was going on. Just then, Prosecutor Marshall showed up. Jake Marshall's brother. Joe Dark tried to take me hostage, but before he could, Mr. Marshall tackled him. Then, what happened? I'll never forget it. Lightning struck and the lights went out. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning flashed outside the window, lighting up the office for an instant. What I saw then burned a permanent picture in my mind. I can still see it now. A permanent picture? I don't remember the moment when Dark stabbed Mr. Marshall. So you weren't able to testify about that? No, I was only asked about when I was attacked. That must be why she made up the crime. Made it up? You mean provided bogus evidence? The prosecutor's office wanted that guilty verdict so badly. Lana forged the evidence and Mr. Edgeworth used it. Edgeworth? Yes, but I'm sure he didn't know anything about it. He couldn't have known he was being given false evidence. Even so, that's when it all started. The rumors about Mr. Edgeworth, I mean. It's all my fault. If I could have just testified properly, none of this would have happened. So it's true, even though he may not have known it. Edgeworth really was involved in falsifying evidence. After that case ended, Lana was never the same. She became cold, like she is today. She must not have been able to face up to what she did, especially not to Emma. What did you see in the instant that crime occurred? Dark knocked down Mr. Marshall and raised his knife. Neil Marshall was stabbed right in front of this poor girl. I don't remember what happened after that. Apparently I passed out. When I came to, Lana was cradling me in her arms. Poor Emma. You've been through so much. I couldn't bring myself to testify about that instant. I tried, but the words just wouldn't come out. I drew a picture, but it wasn't any good. 2 years ago. You must have been 14. That's understandable. Once it was all over, I made up my mind. I decided that when I grew up, I'd become a scientific investigator. I want to be able to fight crime with my testimonies and find the evidence to make an airtight case. That way, Lana would never have to forge any. I see. I think I'm finally starting to understand what makes them a tick. But there's still something that bothers me about that crime. There's something that's puzzling me, Emma. What is it? You said you were in Lana's office at the time, right? That's right. Why then would a serial killer come running in there? Not only that, but he was being chased by a prosecutor? Oh, there's no mystery there. Joe Dark had been taken in for questioning that day. Taken in for questioning? You mean by the police? Of course. This happened at the police department. He tried to run away halfway through the interview and fled into my sister's office. But why did he run all the way over to your sister's office? Because the detective offices in the questioning room are right across from the elevator. Across from the elevator? Lana was the chief prosecutor, wasn't she? No, silly. Didn't I tell you? 2 years ago, Lana was a detective. She was the best in the entire force. What? That's news to me. After the Joe Dark case, she was transferred to the prosecutor's office and made chief prosecutor. Lana used to be a detective? I'd better have another talk with her. Okay, so this case is about a detective that was killed supposedly by a prosecutor who used to be a detective. Okay. Hi, Lana. Lana. Mr. Wright. It seems I keep causing you trouble. Falsifying evidence. I didn't think you were the type. Criminals don't mind playing foul. Why should we? But Lana, if you're wrong, an innocent person might be found guilty. Believe me, I understand the risks. Lana. Emma told me about you. Oh? About how you were a detective 2 years ago. And how the SL9 incident was the reason for your transfer to the prosecutor's office. That's right. Could you fill me in on the details, especially about that unusual change of jobs? Excuse me, I had to blow my nose. I suppose you have a right to know, Mr. Wright. A lot of revelations were uncovered at the trial today, not the least of which was the fact that this case is largely connected to another one 2 years ago. Evidence from that case was stolen as well, though I expected as much. I know how obsessive Officer Marshall can be. That trial, it really wasn't fair, was it? I believed in you, Alana. I believed that no matter what happened, you'd always stick to the truth. It couldn't be helped, Emma. At that trial 2 years ago, I sold my soul. Well, all drama aside, the fact of the matter is, at 5:15 there was no murder at the police department, we think. Well, actually no, most definitely, not at that time at least. Tell me it's not true, Lana, what the witness, Miss Starr, said. Actually, if I look back at the fucking, death, died within an hour and a half of 4 p.m. Died within an hour and a half of 4. So that could be after or before. 4:20. That works. That definitely works. About you stabbing Mr. Goodman with a knife. Lana, I don't understand. Why won't you tell us? Emma, this doesn't involve just me. I don't think I've ever seen Lana look so fazed before. It's true. I was a member of the police force 2 years ago. She was amazing. They still talk about all the cases she and Chief Gant cracked together. Chief Gant? He was the deputy chief of police back then, but he still worked the crime scenes. Damon Gant. He was everything I aspired to be. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, he looks sus as shit. They were the best team ever. They solved crimes before the reports could even be filed. Emma really idolizes her big sister. But now you're chief prosecutor. What happened? I always planned on becoming a prosecutor. The reason I became a detective was to gain Gant's its resolution. After that, he became chief of police and arranged my transfer to the prosecutor's office. Maybe I should ask more about this investigation of theirs 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I was second in command of the detectives investigating Dark. Second in command. That means the investigation led with investigation lead was Damon Gant, right? Yes, Deputy Chief Gant and I shared the same office and the same investigations. They even had the same office? We led a team of the best detectives on the force. Detective Goodman, whose case it was, Jake Marshall, and Angel Starr. It was the first time Marshall worked with his brother. He was quite gung-ho. Without a doubt, Joe Dark was the serial killer. We asked him to come in for questioning. We were desperate for evidence. And that was when his final murder took place. When he tried to murder Emma. Prosecutor Marshall was trying to save me from Dark. You see, the first person who happened upon the scene of the crime was me. Now you tell us. Damon, Gant, and Neil Marshall were the ones questioning Dark that day. The investigation was in its final stages, and Dark must have suddenly panicked. So he waited until Gant and Marshall let their guards down, then fled the room. From there, he ran straight to the office shared by Deputy Chief Gant and myself. That's where he found me. So, you were the first person to run to the scene, Lana? It appears so. I was filing some papers while Gant and Marshall were questioning Dark. When I returned to my office, I saw 3 bodies on the floor and smelled blood. 3 bodies? Prosecutor Marshall, the victim Emma, who had passed out, and the suspect Joe Dark. During the struggle, since Mr. Marshall struck a final blow before he died, Joe Dark had incurred a minor concussion and lay unconscious. What did you do? To be honest, I panicked. I picked up Emma, carried her out of the room, and just held her. Can't blame her, after all, her sister must have gone through. After that, I placed Dark under immediate arrest. Let me get this straight. You were all involved in the SL9 incident. That's right. Quite a coincidence, hmm? I don't buy it. What are you saying? There's no way everyone involved in this trial was also involved in that incident, just by chance. But that case was solved 2 years ago. At least one person went to extremes because they didn't believe it was truly solved. Officer Marshall. Yes, his actions came as a surprise to me as well. Ever since his brother died, he's changed completely. I guess he wasn't convinced with the ruling against Joe Dark. Life doesn't end with the closing of a case. Everyone has to live the rest of their lives with their memories. That case just might not be over yet. Emma was assaulted by Dark at the police department, right? Yes, in the office that Damon Gant and I shared. The office that Mr. Gant now occupies by himself, the Chief's office. Maybe we should have a look at the Chief's office, the site of the final SL9 murder. Okay. Guess I'll head this now. Yeah. I don't see Detective Gumshoe anywhere. Things seem kind of quiet around here today. You're right. The chief of detectives seems the same, though. Why don't we just go look for some other people to talk to? Right. We can come back here later. Oh, hello there. Howdy, Bambina. Oh, Mr. Marshall. I never thought things had turned out this way when I woke up this morning. Que sera. You never know what life will lead you, eh, Bambina? I hope I pronounced that right. I don't think I did. I should have known my luck had run out when old Billy dried up this morning. Billy? Must be his pet cactus. Say, where are you headed? Just over to the prosecutor's office for a little interrogation. It's a voluntary... It's a voluntary appearance, but we all know I won't be coming back. Sorry, but you can't go in the evidence room today, partner. But Mr. Marshall, why did you do it? Why do prospectors head west? If ever there was a case I needed to know the truth about, it was that one. Before you turn yourself in, Mr. Marshall, would you mind telling us exactly what happened? Today. Something was fishy about that trial from the beginning. It wasn't just me either. All the detectives thought so. What do you mean fishy? Some of the facts reported were inconsistent with the evidence we found. For example, the murder weapon. The murder weapon? You mean That switchblade knife with the broken tip? That was Joe Dark's, alright. But in the initial autopsy report, a question was raised. A question? The blade of the knife was not a perfect match with the wound the victim sustained. What does that mean? It means there's a good chance that knife was not the murder weapon. However, in the report that was finally submitted, that possibility had been erased. Could the facts have been concealed with forged evidence? That case left behind scars on us all. The scars that the SL9 incident left behind. I got the looks, but he got the brains. He was one of the best prosecutors around. I had just made detective when it went down. It was our first case together. How old was he, your brother? He was 27 at the time. He was awarded the highest honor that very day. The highest honor? You mean the King of Prosecutors? I knew it. What are you looking at me like that for? That's an honor for a prosecutor. Mr. Marshall must have really been close to with his brother. That day the SL9 incident took place. That wasn't the same day as... That's right. It was day of the evidence for transferal. Interesting. It was drizzling that morning, and by nightfall, there was thunder. I can't believe 2 years have gone by already. I tried to steal the evidence so the case wouldn't die. Apparently someone tried to stop you. Detective Goodman was murdered, and the evidence locker was empty. There was something going on behind the scenes in that case. We all knew that later. Every detective involved in that investigation, save one, was taken care of. Miss Starr was fired, and I was demoted and boxed away in a tiny room. What about Detective Goodman? If they did something to him too, the commissioners would get suspicious. No, they were careful enough not to be too obvious. They? Who are you talking about? Don't get upset, Bambina. I mean Damon Gant and Lana Skye. The investigation lead, Damon Gant, and the second in command, Lana Skye. There wasn't a person on the force who hadn't heard of that duo. That case was the biggest step in both of their careers. After the case ended, Lana transferred to the this is Phoenix talking. After the case ended, Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office, right? Yeah. Damon Gant, the new chief of police. Pardon. Arranged for that to happen. She's never been the same since she left. Everyone who knew her said so. Chief Prosecutor Skye was totally different when she was a detective. Now that you mention it, Emma said something like that too. Tell me, what happened to my sister? Sorry, Bambina, but her secret is too well guarded. I never found out. Lana's secret. It all started 2 years ago. So there you have it. That's my story. Did you enjoy it, partner? It was certainly enlightening. There's one thing for sure I found out in court today. That boy Edgeworth isn't my enemy. He was the one who used falsified evidence to get a guilty verdict. But someone else was the one who gave him that evidence and planned everything. That someone is Damon Gant. Don't believe me? Well, I don't blame you. I won't even be a patrolman after today. Too bad I won't be around to work with you. when you become a real scientific investigator. Adios, Bambina. Goodbye, Officer Marshall. I suppose here, because apparently I can't go into the police station. I wanted to go into the office. No one here's today, not even Miss Starr. Everyone's probably busy looking into what exactly went down in the evidence room. That must be where the detectives are. But we provided in court today that on the day of the crime, no one was murdered in the evidence room at 5:15. Yeah, I thought we were finally making some headway in our case. But instead, it looks like we just ended up making Lana look even more guilty. Hang in there, Lana. I got to find all the answers by tomorrow. Well, nothing new there. It's time for Operation Move Around until I find where I'm supposed to go. Mr. Edgeworth isn't here. Maybe he's being questioned by an inquiry committee? He took a real beating in court today. Yeah, with Lana admitting to falsifying evidence 2 years ago. I guess we'll just have to come back later. Ah, there we go. This place is always pretty empty, but today it's deserted. That must mean everyone's busy solving crimes. Oh, if you're looking for others, they're all in the conference room. Oh, that's the chief. Thanks. Well, he actually talked to us. With the chief prosecutor saying what she did and the decision about what to do. About Mr. Edgeworth, not to mention our statement to the media in tomorrow's trial. There's more chaos going on than Thanksgiving and Christmas put together. I think festive is the word usually used for those. Sir, we'd like to have a look around Chief Gant's office. Just use the connecting hallway to the other building and take the elevator to the top floor. Really? You mean it's okay for us to go in there? I mean, we aren't police officers or anything. Hey, you're right. You can't go in there. It's off limits. Now I see where Detective Cumshoe gets his unique charm. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's head to the chief's office. What in Sam hell? Does this motherfucker have a goddamn church or fuck, what are these called? Fucking, it's not piano. Hold on. Fucking piano connected to pipes. Organ? No. Is it organ? Organ! I was right. Why the fuck does this man have an organ? Whoa, where am I? In the chief's office, silly. At least that's what it said on the door. Check out that pipe organ. That's real, isn't it? Hey, I used to take organ lessons in kindergarten. They used to call me Little Miss Bach. I thought I was a genius until they tried teaching me notes. I never could remember where C was. Ah! Oh, it's you two. Chief Gant. He put that paper he was reading in his desk. So, righto, have you been swimming lately? No I haven't. I've been kinda busy lately. I can appreciate that. I've had my hands full too with Mr. Marshall's misconduct. And Luna's provocative statement. Provocative statement? Oh, you mean about the forged evidence? 2 years have passed since that incident. My, how time flies. See that big picture on the wall over there? That's a picture of Lana, Neil, and me. So this is Mr. Marshall's brother, Prosecutor Neil Marshall. We took it to commemorate our work together. Something's not right with this picture. I can't quite seem to put my finger on it, though. Okay. Yeah? Uh-huh. Anyway, I'd like to reminisce all day, but there are matters that need my attention. I'm going to lock up here, so let's go out together. Oh. But this office, it was a crime scene 2 years ago, wasn't it? That case has long since been over. There's no need to investigate it anymore. All the same, we'd still like to have a look around. Also, au contraire, Mr. Gant. As it is connected to this current case, we have every right to fucking investigate. It's how it goes, Mr. Gant. Perhaps you didn't hear me. I said there's no need to investigate it anymore. Look, you can argue with me all you want, Mr. Pink Shades. That is not going to change the fact that that case is connected to this case. And therefore, I need to know exactly what the fuck happened in that case. Uh-huh. Now hurry up and get out. I have a meeting to attend. Looks like we aren't welcome. It seems that case isn't over with yet, after all. What do you mean? Chief Gant denied a request to search the crime scene. That means there must be a reason he doesn't want us looking around in there. You mean like a clue? There's got to be a way we can get inside the chief's office. If only we had a bumbling detective to just let us in there. Well, if it isn't Gumshoe. Hey, pal. Detective Gumshoe, aren't you supposed to be in a meeting? I'm, just taking a breather. My feet hurt. From sitting so long? Actually, from serving everyone coffee. Sounds like Detective Gumshoe's still out of the loop. Say, have either of you seen Mr. Edgeworth? Edgeworth? No. Why do you ask? He's under fire from both the police department and the prosecutor's office. It's almost like the battles between you two in court. That sounds serious. Is it because of what my sister said? That's basically what it all boils down to. That falsified evidence 2 years ago. Now Mr. Edgeworth has the whole world after his blood. Yikes. But why would Edgeworth be... what? Fuck. Why would Edgeworth... God damn. But why would Edgeworth be blamed? It's not like he knew the evidence was forged. Lana Skye's the guilty party here, isn't she? Regardless, a prosecutor is responsible for the evidence they present in court. Not only that, but as you know, there have been a lot of rumors going around about Mr. Edgeworth. His amazing talent as a prosecutor, prosecutors kept him safe from those who don't like him. But now with this... Are there really so many people who hate him? In our world, only those with talent rise to the top. Mr. Edgeworth not only has that, but he's young. There's no better recipe I know of for making enemies. Hey, Dick, keep up the good work. Yes, sir. Let's go out for lunch again sometime, I tweet. Yes, sir. You gotta take me back to the joint sometime, okay, Dick? Yes, sir. Seems you don't have any problems with enemies. Yeah, well, I'm careful not to stick out. Anyway, I'm a bit worried about them. Under all this pressure, I'm afraid Mr. Edgeworth just might crack. Actually, I took a look at the file earlier while the coffee was brewing. Seems you're only concerned for Edgeworth. Well, did you find out anything? The only evidence Stark left behind was during his final attack. His final attack? You mean when he killed Prosecutor Marshall, who was trying to protect some girl? Me. It seems Detective Gumshoe never realized Emma was the girl. That's when he left the most incriminating evidence of all. Well, what was it? Oh, let's see. I think it had something to do with the murder weapon. Oh, I forgot. Look, it's all written somewhere in here, okay? His powers of recollection never fail to impress. Maybe we should show him the murder weapon. It might jog his memory. You mean, this? I'm about this. Hey, is that... There's a tag attached to it with the label SL9 incident on it. I believe this would be the broken murder weapon you were speaking of. What are you doing with that? Ever since that case was closed, that knife's been locked away in a locker. On the day Detective Goodman was murdered, this suddenly disappeared from the locker. And was found in Mr. Edgeworth's car muffler. That's it. Now I remember what that incriminating piece of evidence was. When you showed me that knife, it all came back to me. Well, what is it, Detective? Quick, before you forget again. This knife, it was Joe Dark's, wasn't it? That's right. We traced it back to the store he bought it at, plus it had his fingerprints on it too. But no one actually witnessed him using it to murder anyone, right? That's where his luck ran out. When you take a good look at the knife, you'll see it's broken. You don't have to take a good look to notice that. Yeah, well, anyway. Take a guess where the broken off tip of the knife was found. That's what did him in. Where was it? The victim, Neil Marshall, was carrying it inside his own body. It was found deep inside the stab wound. Did it match Dark's knife? You bet. Down to the last fiber. That's pretty conclusive. Interesting. Joe Dark was 42 at the time of the crime. He was just your run-of-the-mill businessman. A businessman? What made him take to serial killing? One day on his way home from work, he hit someone with his car. With his car? So, it was an accident? An accident, yes, but it transformed him into an animal. An animal? Oh, goddamn, I had to sneeze. I did not catch that first bit, but oh well. A jogger came upon the scene and was killed as well. Finally, he turned himself in. Seems like he was a pretty careless animal. Of course, this is all conjecture. There wasn't a single shred of evidence. So he turned himself in. Yes, but in the middle of his questioning, he fled and murdered his final victim. Prosecutor Marshall. That crime was witnessed by someone too, but luckily Dark was arrested on the spot. It's a good thing that that last witness wasn't killed. The last witness, aka Emma. Well, there you have it, in a nutshell. That's all I know. Can I ask you one more thing? What is it? If it's money you need, you should ask Chief Gant. It's not money, but it does concern the chief. His office is a crime scene, right? It's where Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered. The chief's out now, and his office is locked. But we'd like to have a look around, if that's okay. Well, any detective's ID card can unlock the door. What, really? What if I let a civilian in there? I'd be charged with breach of trust. Breach of trust? Simply put, I'd be canned. Oh. Sorry, pal. I don't plan on getting fired because of you. How about this ID card? It was Detective Goodman's. But that won't work either. The data was deleted the day he died. Oh. So in other words, Gumshoe is our only chance of getting into that office. I wonder if there's something we could show him that would make him change his mind. Fuck. Nope. I've been studying up on those files. There's nothing wrong with Mr. Edgeworth's presentation to think people are accusing him of injustice. I, for one, ain't buying it, pal. You're looking into the case for Mr. Edgeworth? Yeah, it was a pretty big deal while it was going on, you know. After all, a serial killer was on the loose. And yet, somehow, Phoenix was none the wiser. You'd think this would have been on the news. But Lana was pretty clear in her confession. She forged evidence in order to prove Joe Dark guilty. I can't believe Officer Marshall would do something like that. You know Officer Marshall? Of course I do. He was like a mentor to me. When I first started out, he even gave me a small cactus. Really? He said, Dick, she'll listen to all your troubles. Note to self, Detective Gumshoe talks to a cactus. Hard to believe he's just a patrolman now. Someone ought to trade places with him. What? Why are you looking at me like that? About that jar. I think I've seen it before somewhere. Somewhere? Or maybe it's one of those memories people have from previous lives. This must be the most uninformative detective I've ever met. Something about it makes me feel uneasy. It's like I'm in the chief's office and he's yelling at me. Chief Gant? Where could I have seen that before? No officer... No locker can be opened without a fingerprint match. Besides, there's no reason for the murderer to touch his own locker. Hey, wasn't your locker the one with the blood on it, Detective? The handprint of the real murderer's gloved hand, without any fingerprints. Shh! If they come to arrest me, you'll defend me, won't you? If that happens, I think you'll do better pleading with Edgeworth. Okay, so that has nothing to do with nothing. Now that is that. Oh, a lost item report, huh? Very impressive, Detective. You knew what it was right off the bat. Well, I am a master of misplacement, you know. Master... That has such a cool ring to it. The way I see it, if things are meant to be lost, then they're meant to be lost. There's a higher power at work here. Wow, a higher power. Maybe I shouldn't let Emma hold any evidence. Hey, that powder's used for detecting fingerprints. Yeah, Mr. Edgeworth gave it to us. He did what? All I have is some flour. Are you okay, detective? He sneezed. If it's any help, one time I took a nap on a bench with wet paint. Why am I not comforted? That's the ID card record, isn't it? Yes, there's only one number left to investigate at 4:20 p.m. The victim, Detective Goodman, must have entered the evidence room along with someone else. Someone with an executive officer number. 777777777. That's 17 too many, Detective. An executive officer. I just might have a hunch. No, that did not open up any possibilities for that shit. About this. Hey, is that... Oh, right. I already showed him that shit. No. That's the photo Miss Star took. Anything you can tell us about it? That Miss Star is quite the lady. Why, I remember it was winter. I was 16. She was the only one who ever got me to talk about what happened. 16? That's how old I am now. I wonder what happened. I wonder if Detective Gumshoe wore a trench coat in high school, too. Hey, that's it. That's the King of Prosecutors Award that Mr. Edgeworth got the other day. Were you at the award ceremony, Detective Gumshoe? Of course, pal. I got an award for diligence myself. Ah, congratulations. I was wondering, why is the award a shield? And why is it broken? Oh, there's no reason. I'll tell you what it is later. Apparently, he's forgotten. Well, because all I can do is commence looking around until I find something. Ooh. Wonder if Edgeworth is back yet. There he is. Looks like he's writing something. What are you doing here? He sure was quick to throw that paper on the floor. Tough day in court, huh? I've had to live the past 2 years with rumors flying around. What's another allegation to me? Cheer up, Mr. Edgeworth. I'm rooting for you. That's Edgeworth for you. Always trying to hide his real feelings. So, what do you want? Unlike some people, I don't have all day. There's no excuse for what I've done. 2 years ago, I used false evidence to obtain a guilty verdict. That's what it all breaks down to, and nothing I can do can erase that fact. But you didn't know, did you? I mean, that evidence was falsified. The police department and the prosecutor's office share a bond of trust. If that bond is broken, we stand to lose everything. The police department's error is my error, my responsibility as the prosecutor in charge. The fact remains the same no matter what excuses I might have. Mr. Edgeworth, I take pride in my work. So tell me why. Why has it all come to this? Even Edgeworth can't keep this kind of emotion bottled up. Are you up for the trial tomorrow? First last year's trial, and now this one. Seems all you do is worry about me. To be honest, you're getting on my nerves. But Mr. Edgeworth, you can't just walk out on the trial. Tomorrow is the last day. It's too late to change prosecutors. I'll bet that's what my superiors are banking on. I never thought that case would come back to haunt me like this. What do you mean? The list of evidence. It seems too short. Most lists run twice as long. It's only half as long as most lists. That is odd. After Neil Marshall was murdered, I became prosecutor for that case. I may not have been part of the investigation, but I knew what I had to do. Use the evidence I was given to prove the suspect guilty. That was really the only thing on my mind at the time. Say, we just saw a picture taken around that time. That picture. Something seems strange about it. Huh. Could you tell us again about what happened that day? The day Detective Goodman was murdered. You were participating in a ceremony over at the station, right? I've never cared for ceremonies, but I had to attend that one. Because you were awarded this? Those receiving awards can't exactly skip out on the ceremony. I finished up at the office in the morning, then drove over to the police department. You finished up at the office? Yes, just odds and ends, clerical stuff. I didn't plan on returning to the office that day. That is, until I was asked to take something back. Take something back? This. Oh yeah, Chief Gant asked you to hold on to that, didn't he? Yes, it was a piece of evidence in a case that was closed half a year ago. He asked me to bring it back to the prosecutor's office. That's the story we heard yesterday. So you came back here to the prosecutor's office because the chief asked you to? That's right. This picture was hanging on the wall in Chief Gant's office. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He had just started making a name for himself. Looks like this was taken when he received the King of Prosecutors trophy. Speaking of that, there's something that bothers me. Yes? The trophy Mr. Marshall is holding. It's a little different than yours. Yes, you're right. Ah, I remember now. Remember what? That was what the official prosecutor's trophy looked like until 2 years ago. There's a story behind its design. A story? Sounds interesting. Would you mind telling it to us? It's simple, really. Contradiction. That's what the award's based on. This award originates from an ancient Chinese tale. In Chinese, the word contradiction is written with 2 characters. The first means halberd, and the second means shield. Have you heard this story? Me? Oh, sure. Everyone knows that. Why don't you tell it, though? For Emma's sake. Very well. Long ago in the kingdom of Chu, there was an arms merchant. One day he presented the king with 2 items. The first was a halberd he claimed could slice through any shield or armor. The second was a shield he claimed could withstand any weapon. Wait a minute. Those claims contradict each other. Very perceptive. But then again, you've heard this story before, right? Anyway, as you've mentioned, the very descriptions of these items discredit them both. When the king pointed this out, the merchant was left speechless. And thus, the Chinese word for contradiction was born. Oh, I see. So the chipped shield and broken knife symbolize... Precisely so. They symbolize the merchant's items. The ancient tale ends with the merchant at a loss for words. But it's in our nature to pursue matters to their conclusion, even if its result is something as ugly as this. Well, thanks, Mr. Edgeworth. I learned something new today. That's funny. If that's so, then why were you only given a shield? You'll have to ask Chief Gant. 2 years ago, he had the halberd part of the ward abolished. Chief Gant. Right, please. You don't say this. Blah, blah, blah. God damn it. Actually, I wonder. God damn it. Well, I'm not gonna sit here and fucking go through every bit of fucking evidence. I get. Oh, here we go. Excuse me. Oh, hi, Mr. Would either of you care for a quarter-pound of roast beef? I could go for a quarter-pound of roast beef. Miss Star. I guess she's out of lunches. You certainly are the curious sort, aren't you? Kind of like the first person who sucked a cow's nipple to discover milk. Still, I never thought you'd go digging up that case from 2 years ago. Everyone in this trial was involved in the SL9 incident. Not only that, but the murder occurred on the very day the evidence from the case was due for transferal. This can't all be attributed to mere coincidence. Aren't you forgetting something? You know, that little scene I happened to witness? The instant Lana stabbed Detective Goodman with a knife. No matter how much of the past you dig up, it won't change what I saw. Roast beef is meant to be savored when eaten. The Star's hatred toward Lana. It all dates back to 2 years ago. Joe Dark. That's a name I'll not soon forget. We trailed him for half a year. Oh, the pressure. Still, I don't think I was ever more alive than I was then. Those days were steamier than a bowl of hot gravy. Poor old Jake Marshall, though, must have been going through hell. You mean because of his brother's death? They were close, those two. After Neil died, something took over Jake. He became obsessed. Seeing Jake like that made her all the more desperate. Her? Lana Skye. My sister? The best of the best were put on that SL9 case. Of course, they were led by that legendary duo. Lana and Chief Gant. That legendary pair was the reason we were able to keep our investigation. That's why we were so shocked over how it turned out. You mean with the forging of evidence? Don't get me wrong, Joe Dark got what he deserved. Still, it was obvious the evidence produced in court was being manipulated. Items our team never found would suddenly appear, while other items were kept secret. But you don't have proof anything illegal was done. I'm proof enough of what happened. After that case, all of us, save Goodman, were relieved of our duties. Most without even so much as an explanation. Then Lana Skye transferred to the prosecutor's office and became chief prosecutor. Lana always wanted to be a prosecutor. Nothing's quite as simple as it appears. Huh? Lana Skye was merely being used as a pawn. That's my take on the matter. She was being used? Damon, Gant, and Lana Skye. Gant led the investigation, with Lana second in command. They were the best. They solved all kinds of cases together, didn't they? Damon Gant's magnetism in particular was almost unreal. His magnetism? By that I mean his ability to attract evidence. He'd produced the most incredible evidence in the cases he handled. Incredible evidence? You mean... Oh yes, there were rumors about him even back then. No one dared confront him, though. I take it she's talking about forged evidence. Back then, everyone looked up to Lana. All the detectives wanted to be like her. Really? Oh yes, myself included. I was a fool, really. She hated anything crooked, and always watched out for the other detectives. That's why she was so concerned for Jake. Mr. Marshall. When Jake's brother was murdered, she felt as if she had lost her own brother. If it wasn't for her, I don't think Jake would ever have recovered from his shock. That's what makes it all the more infuriating. Miss Starr. That's why I'll never be able to forgive her. Why did she have to turn so cold after that? Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office 2 years ago, didn't she? Yes, thanks to Chief Gant's powerful influence. Chief. That's right. Having solved the SL9 case, his position as chief was secured. There was only one thing left for him to control. And then no one could stand in his way. The prosecutor's office. What? You mean, that's why Lana was transferred? If he could control the chief prosecutor, he could control the prosecutor's office. That must have been his goal all along. But how could he control Lana? I don't know, but one thing's for sure. Ever since that case ended, she's never been the same. It's only logical to conclude there must have been a reason for her change. At last, I'm finally getting close to the bottom of this ugly mess. Thank you, Miss Starr. You listen to me, rookie. It takes more than just ingredients to create fine cuisine. I hope you turn out to be a better chef than I've been. Miss... She's done talking to us. Good to know. That's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to stay. I have a question. Blah 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 blah. She does not care, apparently. Oh, you're back. You're still here? I gotta make 150 copies of these files. Brewing coffee, copying files. I'm turning into a regular DJ. You're a DJ as well? If I'm not mistaken, I think he means desk jockey. Oh, that DJ. I can admire your persistency, but my answer's still no. I'm not letting you in the chief's office, period. It'd be my neck on the line. That office is the last crime scene in the SL9 incident. I have to take a look in there. There's got to be something we can do to make the detective change his mind. Hey, that's it. That's the king of blah 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 blah. Of course, pal, I gotta blah blah blah. Say, this design's based on an old Chinese parable, right? Yeah, everyone knows that. There was this, dragon, yeah, that's it, a dragon. He had a thing for shields, see? That's not exactly the version we heard. No, but this one sounds more exciting. Anyway, it gets kinda gory after that. I'll spare you the details. Son of a bitch. This ID card belonged to the victim, Detective Bruce Goodman. You can do just about anything with anything these days with a card and a secret number. Scary. It's only scary because you keep dropping your card, Detective Gumshoe. I forget my secret number a lot too. I'm scared myself. But I'm me, that after all. And what could be wrong with that? I think I'll stay out of this conversation. Okay. She doesn't want to talk anymore. He doesn't want to talk. Wait a minute. Wonder what he was writing before. Come on, Mr. Wright, let's take a look. Are you crazy? Edgeworth is sitting right there. Just distract him, I'll check it out. Hey Edgeworth. Is that Detective Gumshoe out the window there? Oh no, he's falling to the ground. Hold on, first let me see what this girl's doing crawling around my feet. He didn't even look. What? Letter of If you're having trouble reading, I'll read it for you. It says, Letter of Resignation. Resignation? Edgeworth, you don't mean... I'm tired, Wright. I feel as if something inside me has died. But Mr. Edgeworth, none of it is your fault. I know the path I've walked. You don't need to tell me. And the path I've walked hasn't been a just one. I can't forgive myself for what I've done. And no one else should forgive me either. Uh-oh. I think he's serious. Mr. Wright, please, you have to do something. This letter of resignation. I wonder if I can use it for anything. Okay, so now I take the letter of resignation to Gumshoe, and because he's got like a, you know, a thing for Edgeworth, he'll let me in. He'll let me do the thing. What's this crumpled up piece of paper? No way! Mr. Edgeworth can't be serious. Is he ever not serious? I can't believe they've pushed him this far. Mr. Edgeworth really feels responsible. When I first met him, I thought he was as cold as ice too. But I know different now. He trusted us detectives to provide him with sound evidence. But we betrayed him. Detective. That's it. I've made up my mind. But, here, take my ID card. We can't do that. If someone found out, they wouldn't let you off the hook with another lost item report. Look at me. It's no secret I'm already out of the loop. After all, I'm friends with Mr. Edgeworth. Depending on how this case turns out, I may already be as good as terminated. What? So at least let me do this, for Mr. Edgeworth's sake. Alright, Detective. Thank you. You're a good man, Gumshoe. Good man. Gotta have me a little look-see at what the fuck's going on in here. Here goes, Mr. Wright. We're in. If anyone finds us now, Detective Gumshoe's a goner. If that happens, I'm counting on you to bail me out. Gah. Sorry, I didn't even know you could slap a ghost. Detective Gumshoe. What are you doing sneaking up on us like that? I wasn't sneaking. I was just worried something might go wrong. So I came to. If you're here, then what's the point in giving us your ID card? Hey, don't do that to my card. I hardly ever get a chance to come in here. So I figured I'd have a look around myself. Besides, we're all in this together now. You really do want to get fired, don't you? Not if we're lucky. Now come on, let's see what we can find out. I've got a bad feeling about this. That desk on the other side of the room, was that your sister's? Yes, that's where I was waiting for Lana. On that day 2 years ago. Is anyone using it now? No, sir. This is entirely Chief Gant's office now. He practices a strict policy of preserving the crime scene. That's a strange reason to leave it there. He leaves it as a warning to everyone else. He wants us to always be alert. He told us so himself at our New Year's party. Of course, he was pretty intoxicated at the time. I see. So ever since Lana left, no one ever touches that desk? No one except Chief Gant and the cleaning lady who's in here each morning. Still, 2 years have passed since that incident. There can't possibly be any clues remaining. You know, maybe. Can I ask you something? Sure. You only came here to look around, right? Because it's one of the SL9 crime scenes? I mean, that's your only reason for coming here, isn't it? Why do you ask? You don't think... Nah, you wouldn't be. No. No, there's no way. Never mind, don't worry about it. Okay, now then, let's look around a bit more. Hey, hold on, not so fast, buddy. Huh? What is it? When someone tells you don't worry about it, it's supposed to start bothering you, pal. You don't just let it go at that. Sorry, this guy's starting to get on my nerves. Okay, so what's bothering you? You two don't think Chief Gant might be a suspect, do you? What? He's right, Mr. Wright. What do we think of him? Well, I frankly think he looks sus as shit. He also acts sus as shit. Chief Gant, so it's finally come to this. What do I think of him? Perhaps it's best I don't divulge my feelings. Yet. There you go, ignoring me again. Now then, time to look at everything. This is the real deal, isn't it? This armor and these weapons? Sure is, pal. The chief doesn't care for imitations. First the pipe organ, now this armor. Do you know how many taxpayer dollars must have gone into this room? What? You mean we're paying for this? That's it. I'm not paying 1 cent of my taxes. You don't have any taxes to pay. Shh, be careful what you say. Who knows, the chief may be hiding in this armor as we speak. I don't think he'd fit in there. Even if he did, he'd never be able to get back out. Cut it out. You guys don't know how scary that guy can be. This is a safe, isn't it? Safe. That word is right with intrigue. Okay, if you say so. It looks like a code needs to be entered in this panel to open it. A 7-digit number. I think I just might know what it is. Do you know what it is? I have a hunch. Oh, I know. You want to try my birth date. It's... I have a better idea. Here goes nothing. Huh. That worked. Bingo. What number did you enter? Whose birthday was that, pal? 777-777-7. The final ID card number on that record. What? The number of the mysterious executive officer who entered the room that day. You mean 7777777, that ID number? I think you're 1 7 shy this time. This can only mean one thing. That's Chief Gant's ID number. Say, anyone care to look inside? Is there any money in there? How much does he have stashed away? Look, it's a shard from a broken cup. This somehow looks familiar. Where have I seen this before? There's something else in here, too. What's this? It looks like a piece of leather cloth. Oh, fuck. Interesting. This is a handprint, isn't it? Hey, I saw someone wearing a shirt like that once. You think the chief made up the design? I don't think so. Oh. Well, it was just a thought. Is that it? This is all that was in the safe? Apparently so. It's empty now. A piece of cloth with a handprint on it. And a broken shard from a cup. They look like pieces of evidence. Yeah, but unless you can prove they have something to do with this case, I'm afraid I can't just let you take them. After all, it's my neck of the line here. Great, now I have to prove their relevancy to get them. Well, let me just look at the evidence. So, obviously that bit that looks like it's a broken piece of vase, it's obviously a part of the jar. That's indisputable. As for that part of the vest. Come on, there's got to be something we can show the detective. Detective Kumshu, could you have another look at this jar? I remember when the three of us put that back together. Ah, those were the days. It's kind of early to be nostalgic. Wasn't this jar a piece of evidence from that case? That's right. One of the shards had an SL9 incident sticker on it. Doesn't this ring any bells? You know, that fragment we just found. You mean this one? That was in the safe? Yes, that one. That was in the safe. Now that you mention it, it's ringing a lot of bells. Let's see if it fits. Here, let me see that shard. I'll take a crack at this. Go ahead, pal. Show us what a rookie can do. Mr. Wright, here's some glue. If I can piece this together again, it'll prove Chief Gant was knowingly hiding evidence. Here goes. Ah, boom. There, it fits like a charm. That, of course, means Chief Gant willingly and knowingly hid a piece of this jar in his safe. In other words, he concealed a piece of evidence from the SL9 incident. But, hey guys, get a load of this. What is it? This piece you just attached. It's different from the others. There's a reddish line on it. A reddish line. That's blood. I don't get it. Why would Chief Gant hide this in his safe? Oh. Blah, blah, blah. Got. Well, if there's a handprint, Detective Gumshoe, I'd like you to have a look at this. Hey, I know what that is. So, you want to take some fingerprints? That's a great idea, Detective. Alright, go to town. Sheesh. What are you doing? Why are you sticking out your hand like that? Go ahead, take my fingerprints. It's not your fingerprints we want to take. Huh? Come on, this isn't the time for jokes. We're talking about that cloth we found in the safe. Oh, aha, I knew that. The one with the handprint on it, right? Sheesh. Where's your sense of humor? Okay, Mr. Wright, let's check for prints. Sprinkle the powder on the cloth. Then, once they've been absorbed into the prints, blow the rest away. What are you, my mom? I don't have to be told a million times. Alright, let's get this over with.